What if the college football conferences were aligned by academic prestige? That's what we're going to take a look at here today in EA College Football 25. And if you like that idea, leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. And go ahead and leave some more suggestions for other ideas you have in the comments below. So let's go ahead and take a little look at our conferences here. We have the ACC, which is going to be our top of the top, our most academically prestigious schools. We have good schools in here like Michigan, we have North Carolina, we have USC, California, we have Notre Dame, Florida, Virginia, Stanford. Some really good football schools all in all. But then we have some other schools let's take in here, such as Northwestern, Rice, Vanderbilt, Duke. And these schools are aligned, academically at the same level of these other ones, but not necessarily football wise. So that's why I think this is going to be a little bit different of a sim. We're going to get some really interesting outcomes, I feel like. And then in the Big Ten, this is our next level of schools academically. I think this is easily the best conference by football level, obviously. We have teams like Texas A&M, Miami, Texas, Georgia, Penn State, NC State, Ohio State, Washington, Florida State. I mean, this is really, in my opinion, the best conference of them all. And then next we have the Big 12 here. You can see it's a little bit different than we would expect. Maybe not what you would expect, but academically, the schools that are near the top aren't always the best schools in terms of on the field performance. We see the military academies here, Navy and Army, and they're carried, by their strict admissions. We have Baylor. We got schools like Temple and UConn on here as well. And then one that really surprised me was Buffalo. No hate to Buffalo, but I just didn't really know that they had that great of an academic prestige. So that was really interesting to me, something I found out. Air Force here as well. And moving on to the Pac-12, our next section of academic ratings. This is kind of like the B minus section. We have Miami of Ohio, James Madison rubbing shoulders with the likes of all of these good Power 5 conference teams. We have Houston, South Carolina, Colorado in here, BYU. Just a decent crop of teams as well, and I think this will be an interesting conference to keep an eye on. Moving on next, we have the Sun Belt, which houses now Alabama, got Ole Miss, you have Kansas, which is interesting, Kentucky, Maryland, Kansas State, Oregon State, Nebraska. So a lot of talent in this conference as well, and I do like how it is spread out, at least so far. If we go to the next conference, it's going to be our SEC. We have Oklahoma State, we got Louisville, we got LSU. But yeah, definitely a weaker conference, and we can see this is kind of where the fall off does start from like the power conferences, and I kind of wanted to keep somewhat of a semblance of that. Obviously, LSU is probably the best. I mean, in the game, apparently they're the same as Louisville, but I think LSU obviously should be the easy favorite out of there. And then moving on next, we have the Mountain West. We have Memphis, West Virginia, Texas Tech. Not a whole lot going on in this conference. It's kind of our last crop of academically viable C minus schools. And then for these bottom three conferences, I did make them a little bit smaller just so we could kind of keep more schools competitive in those top ones. And I'm more interested to see what happens coming out of those. But there's the MAC. Here's the American. They do have Boise State, which unfortunately they are just not very academically prestigious. So they are going to be kind of hampered by a bad conference, but maybe that'll actually work in their favor. And then Conference USA, the last one here as well. So I am controlling Akron right now, so hopefully I have the least possible control or interference over everything. I am actually going to make sure I put on auto recruiting and auto progression just so everything is CPU controlled. And yeah, we're going to start simulating through this first season. I'll probably check in with y'all around the end of the year, around bowl conference championship time. So we have some exciting matchups here in conference championship week. First off, the Conference USA matchup. Probably not going to matter too much in the grand scheme of things. Tennessee, BYU in the Pac-12 championship. If Tennessee wins, they may be able to get a spot in the playoff. We'll take a look at the bracket there in a second. LA Tech and Louisiana. Again, not going to matter probably for the playoffs. Arkansas and Kentucky. If Arkansas wins, they can find themselves with a playoff berth. Same thing here with Clemson, Oregon. Big game and really important that Clemson gets that win for them to continue their season. The SEC championship, we got Washington State and Louisville. Washington State looking to keep that spot alive. Unfortunately for the AAC or the American, Boise State does go 10-2, but because they're not ranked, they're not going to have a chance to get in. Memphis and West Virginia, both ranked in the 20s, but just not high enough probably to get in the playoff. But what is really interesting, though, is that because USC and Georgia Tech neither are ranked in the ACC championship, neither of them are probably going to get in the playoff either. So we're going to see a lower conference team probably get in, and then Ohio State and Texas 1-2 matchup in the conference championship. We will go ahead and see what happens in some of those big games. We'll take a quick look at the bracket right now. And as you can see, this is kind of what I was expecting. But what I was not expecting is number 5 being UConn at 11-1. That is insane to me. And then also, this has really messed with the seeding. As you can see, we had the number 1 school getting a bye. Okay, that's normal. And then we have number 14, 13, and 9. What? As well as the number 23rd ranked Louisiana Raging Cajuns getting a spot here. And this is, of course, if all these teams were to win their conference championship. And one last, I guess we can go ahead and take a quick look at the standings. I'm not going to do this every single year, is because that would make this a very long video. But here are all the standings through the conferences. And as you can see, man, wow, UConn goes 8-1 in the Big 12 in their first year. That is really impressive in my eyes. Nothing too surprising outside of that. We're just going to keep taking a quick look, give y'all a little rundown. The Pac-12 did look like it had some decent schools, but they just were not ranked high enough for whatever reason. The SEC, kind of weaker, which we kind of probably expected from the jump. Alabama, ranked 12 here, did end up losing 2 conference games. I wonder who they were to. And then if y'all were wondering, here is the top 25 at the moment. Definitely not what I was expecting going into this sim, but we're going to go ahead and get into some of these conference championship games, and I will see you there. Unfortunately, Ohio State did not have enough to take down Texas here. I was going to try to jump in, but it just didn't get close enough for that need. So Big 12, we'll see what happens there. But in the Big 10, it's Texas in year 1. And in this one, Clemson did just score a touchdown, but with only 30 seconds left, it's not going to be enough. Again, wasn't really close enough to come in and take a look. I know it was a 1-score game, but it was really not. It was a touchdown right at the end of the game. Oregon takes care of business, man, and they end up winning the Big 12 in the first season. So unfortunately, none of the bowls that really mattered ended up being ones that we could jump into. But Liberty does win against San Jose State, if anyone cares about that. Tennessee handles BYU. Close game here, which would have been a cool one to watch, but we're not really going to be watching the MAC championship in this, unfortunately, unless some school goes on a complete tear. We saw that already. Arkansas just completely decimated Kentucky, and they are going to be finding themselves in the playoff. Washington State handles business. Boise State with a 20-point win against UNLV. It seems like they just can't get away from each other. And then West Virginia, Memphis, a close one. And Georgia Tech, USC as well. We saw what happened in Texas, Ohio State. So what is the playoff bracket going to look like now that we know the conference champions? Well, here it is. And you can see it got a little bit better. I did not like having number 23, Louisiana, in here. But this looks a little bit nicer, at least. We have number 1 and 2 with a bye. And while number 14 did still sneak into the playoffs, just looks a little bit cleaner. Nothing too crazy in here. By the way, somehow the Heisman winner, I know this doesn't show the Heisman, but also the player of the year was John Mateer, quarterback, Washington State. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So I did end up simulating the first round of the playoffs. We'll probably do that with the first two rounds every season just to make it continue to flow and just not be here forever because we are trying to get through a decent amount of years. But Tennessee goes down to Ohio State in a close one. Nebraska does not put up even a fight against Ole Miss. Oklahoma takes care of Georgia, which is interesting. And then UConn somehow found their way all the way there, but they just had no answer for Kansas State. So we have Kansas State, Oregon, Washington State, Oklahoma, Texas, Ole Miss, and Arkansas, Ohio State. And I will see y'all in the semifinal. And following round two, we have some exciting outcomes. Man, number one, Texas goes down to Ole Miss, and Ohio State takes care of Arkansas. Washington State takes out Oklahoma, and that's why he won the Heisman, man. And then Oregon takes care of their business. So an interesting Final Four. We have Ohio State, Ole Miss. We have Washington State, Oregon. And we will go ahead and hop into these games, see if there's anything going on. Now, unfortunately, it looks like it's just not going to be enough here from Washington State as Oregon is about to just run the clock out, kick the field goal. And that is it. Oregon's going to the national championship here in year one, which is nothing too crazy. We've seen this usual in the sim. And they make it from far. I don't even know why I didn't realize that. In the Cotton Bowl Classic, a long field goal is made by the Land Sharks to put them back up by 7. Man. So there's going to be a minute and some change for Ohio State. Let's see what they can do here. They're going to take this ball out. They're going to turn and only get it up to the 16. I don't know why they even tried to return that football. Coming out 5 wide. What can Will Howard do? Except that's not Will Howard. That's number 33. And he's found number 2 down the sideline. And he is gone. I don't know who's playing quarterback right now for the Buckeyes. But he just threw an absolute dart down the field, blown coverage. Amika Ubukwa goes all the way for a touchdown. We're going to have to see who this quarterback is, man. And yeah. So that adds some craziness to it. Let's see. Ole Miss still has 3 timeouts and a minute 10 on the clock as not much time came off there. They try to take the ball out as well when we get into the 13-yard line. I don't know what they are doing as well as they just saw Ohio State mess up so badly, but 85-yard touchdown for Ohio State. Maybe Ole Miss can do the same, but he's going down here. It's Jackson Dart, taken down by number 58 on the Ohio State defensive line. We might get an overtime game. Third and 4 here. Finds a man underneath. If they don't pick this up, it's going to get real dicey. And going back to the air. They're looking for the first. And it is incomplete. Going downfield, but just can't make the catch. It's hit. Going to go ahead and punt this ball back to Ohio State. And this could be bad. If Ohio State can pick up 2 or 3 first downs or 20, 30 yards here. They got 40 seconds. He finds a man over the middle. And Devin Brown, that is Ohio State's quarterback. They're up to the 50-yard line. They don't have any timeout, so we'll see if the CPU handles the clock well. I doubt that they do, but throwing downfield again. And he's got it. at the 22-yard line in Ohio State, going for the field goal for the win. And they get the snap off. I thought they were not going to do it. Ohio State is going to the national championship. Wow. I really thought this game was not going to end that way. I thought we were going to overtime. But Ole Miss, they go on third down and throw the ball instead of running it, electing to take the game to overtime. The aggressiveness does not pay off for them. And we will have Ohio State versus Oregon in the national championship. So we're going to have Ohio State, Oregon here in the national championship. Who is going to come out on top being taken down? So with 3:18 on the clock, Ohio State is going to tie the game up at 13 apiece. And let's see what Oregon can do now to answer. It's going to be third and 2. Pick up an 8, I guess. And it's an option play. Gabriel keeps it, and then, oh my gosh, pitches it out. Was that a receiver slot pitch? Because he just went the entire field himself. Wow. Some explosive offenses. They were able to tie it up, but then Oregon came out and put themselves up a touchdown, and that pick right there could do it. Is he going to take it all the way? Yes, he is. Pick 6 for Oregon. It's Nico Reed. Man, what was that? Just a horrible turn of events if you're an Ohio State fan here. This game probably over. That's it, folks. On fourth down, Oregon can make the stop here. It's all over. Even though Ohio State has probably taken too much time off the clock, regardless. Going towards the end zone, incomplete. In year 1, nothing too crazy changed. Let's see if in the future seasons anything different comes. Just in case you are wondering, this is how the conference prestige has shaped out up to this point. After realignment due to academic prestige, just something I thought was a little bit interesting, though. Even though the ACC, like I said, is the most academically prestigious conference, it is not necessarily the most prestigious altogether, which still goes to the Big Ten in this case. And even more interestingly to me is the fact that the Sun Belt is really just carried by the stadium atmosphere, the school atmosphere, and tradition of those schools that are in that conference rather than academic prestige at a whole. Because the ACC, Big Ten, and then Big 12 were the most academic prestigious conferences in this realignment. But as you can see, that is not how it has shaped out in terms of total overall prestige. Here at the end of year 2, we got Jalen Daniels of USC winning the Heisman. And we're going to go ahead and look at what happened in the conference championships. And we have San Jose State again and Liberty. This time, Liberty wins in the Pac-12 championship. We have Arizona getting a win. That's pretty big for them. Hopefully, we'll be seeing them in the playoff. Oregon, number 4, keeps Clemson out from the playoff in this one. And then Marshall beats Louisiana. Doesn't really matter in this. Alabama beating Kansas State at 13 probably means they'll get in. We'll see how that ended up shaping out, though. Troy beats ELM if you care about that. And then Washington State at 11-2 wins the SEC. We'll see if they get in as well, because West Virginia, Memphis, they're ranked lower. And then number 1, USC barely beats Notre Dame. Number 2 and 3 here in Penn State losing to Georgia. Going to be definitely a little bit different of a bracket from last year. And we have actually Alabama getting in at 13 there. So it's 1, 2, 3. I guess it's 1, 2, 4, and 5 getting the first round bye this time. But nothing too crazy here. The team that gets left out this season is number 12, Florida. If we take a quick look at conference standings, we see 13-0 USC, ACC. Heard what we were saying about last year, them not producing a playoff team. And this season, they come back very strong. They don't get all three of these in because Florida just missed, but they do get two playoff teams in. And these are the rest of the standings. Put them up real quick for y'all. And yeah, man, let's go ahead and get into these playoffs. And so we will be getting a new national champion this year as Oregon goes down to Notre Dame. But we'll take a quick look at the first round. Penn State handled business against Alabama. Kansas State with a 7-point win against Kentucky. Notre Dame, Texas, and Texas A&M, Ohio State, both 4-point games. Close ones there. But unfortunately, both the Texas teams get taken out for fans of those. Then coming into the second round, Penn State continues to win, knocking off number 5 Arizona. Number 3 Penn State, mad they were not able to get that first round bye, probably, man. Kansas State does go down to the number 1 14-0 USC Trojans. And then Notre Dame able to knock out the defending champs, and Georgia takes down the runner-ups. So we're going to have two new teams in the national championship. And let's go ahead and get into these two premier matchups, man. And here we have a not so close ending to USC and Penn State. Penn State just did not have nearly enough to keep up. And Drew Allar looked like he threw 5 interceptions there. Did I see that right? If so, that would be easily the cause of their loss, I would assume. One last throw into the end zone, incomplete. And that is going to do it for the semifinal game. Not much of a game there, actually. Oh, no, 0 interceptions. I don't know what I saw pop up then. But USC just completely handles Penn State, man. Not even close. All right, and here in Georgia, Notre Dame, we got a close one. A minute 30 left, number 39 for Notre Dame. They'll need a touchdown if they want to stay alive in this college football playoff. And they go to the hurry up. Still have all 3 timeouts. Only picked up 1 on the last play. They're going to pick up another 7 there. 3rd and 1. And yeah, if you're a Notre Dame fan, you can't be too mad about this. You're only down 6 against the number 2 team in the country with a chance at the national championship game. Keeping it short there, breaks the tackle, and some injury timeout comes in for Georgia. Probably not what you like to see, especially in this situation, but with 1 timeout now for Notre Dame, they have a minute left. And oh my gosh, that probably should have been intercepted. But somehow that ball gets through there. And now a minute left. They're going to go ahead and spike the football, bringing up 2nd down. So they need about 30 more yards here. And will we see a big end of the game drive? Oh, going deep, and it's intercepted. And that is going to do it, folks. Wow. Notre Dame, national championship hopes. Riley Leonard, man, just not able to find the receiver. It almost looked like a good read, but just couldn't get enough on that ball or enough under it. Goes to the defender, and Georgia is going to the national championship game. All right, y'all. This is what these moments are made for. Tied 24-24 here. USC is going to return this kick, and only get to the 17. I still don't get why they always seem to return these kickoffs. USC looking for a chance to take the lead in the final moments of the national championship. A strike there to the 30-yard line. First down. And this USC team has been really just probably the best we've seen, being 15-0. Nothing has compared to them so far. Gets sacked on that play. And an offensive lineman looks like he goes down. That is not a recipe for success if you are USC. Minute 30, second and 20 here. Dropping back, and he's going down again. Fourth sack of the day for Georgia's defense. And that's not good. Looked like he was taking a little bit of time to get up there. Going to go right to the next play here in 3rd and 27. If USC is going to have any hope, it's going to be here, but they're just going to hand the ball off. Content with trying to hold off Georgia. I don't think that was a very good idea now. I really think Georgia's going to have enough time to probably put together a drive here, especially if they can return this punt decently, and it's not that great of a kick either. Now, Georgia with the ball on their own 45-yard line. If they can muster up 25, 30 yards here, they can win the national championship. Underneath for the running back, he breaks the tackle, picking up 12. Jaden Rashada in at quarterback for Georgia. Wow, man. And the ACC represented by USC today in their first playoff game, or first playoff team, I should say. Georgia sacked here. Oh my gosh, the blitz comes through the middle, and that is going to make it a 3rd and 21 for Georgia now. Wow, the tides have shifted. I really thought Georgia was in prime position to get a field goal. Now they just go underneath, and that's going to bring up 4th down, and they are not in field goal range. And it looks like we're going to overtime, guys. Unless something crazy happens on this punt here. Oh my goodness, something crazy did happen. And there's a flag down, roughing the punter, it looks like. That's going to be a game changer because that's a 15-yard penalty, and now Georgia is in field goal range. After that, oh my gosh, what a way to lose the national championship, USC, as Trevor Etienne picks up 8 on the ground. Timeout comes in from Georgia. And the Bulldogs, with 2 seconds on the clock, are going to have a chance to win the game with a field goal. Wow. Could you imagine? Georgia is your national champion. Could you imagine losing like that? Wow. Heartbreaking for USC and the ACC as a whole. People were wondering how the recruiting's been going along. This is kind of a sneak peek. Nothing too crazy, but there are some teams like SMU and Syracuse that are recruiting above where they normally would, as would like TCU on here as well. And then a few schools, again, like Boise State and Tulane standing out. While we're simulating here, go ahead and leave a comment. And who do y'all think is going to do the best over this simulation? Who's going to win the most national championships as for conferences? And who is going to have the most Heismans at the end of this as well? In year number 3, our Heisman winner is Alonzo Barnett the third out of Clemson. I believe he's James Madison's quarterback in real life, so that's quite interesting to see. Quick championship week recap here in year number 3. San Jose State, again, they seem to be in here every year. They win it. Oklahoma knocks off Iowa State. We might see both of them in the playoffs anyway, though. Toledo with a win against Louisiana Tech in the MAC championship. They are ranked number 23, so I don't think we will be seeing them. But it is, I guess, a possibility. Though I think Arkansas State winning this basically ensures that that will not happen. Alabama cannot beat Kansas State here in the Sun Belt chip. and they are not going to be seeing the playoffs. Tulane almost takes down the Heisman and Clemson, but they just can't get it done by 6 points. They will still be in the playoffs, though. Arkansas State, as we already mentioned, beats Boise State. Memphis with a nice win. Nevada wins the SEC, which is interesting. No SEC team's going to get in. And then Georgia beating Pittsburgh. Both of those schools should be in. And Notre Dame securing a playoff spot as well, beating Northwestern there. So that's pretty interesting. Wouldn't have expected Northwestern to finish that good, but this is the ending conference standings. Here's the ACC. Here's the American. Boise State still. It's just going to be really tough. They're a 4-star now. It's going to be really difficult with the conference they're in to do much of anything. Here is the Big 12. They're going to field 4 playoff teams, which I think is the most we've seen so far. The Big 10, although, may also have 4 if Miami sneaks in, though I have a suspicion they probably won't because of the fact that a conference champion was ranked lower, I believe. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket. And no, Miami does get in at number 12. So it's number 1, 2, 3, and 8 with the first round bye. And nothing crazy here at all besides maybe the fact that Tulane is in here at number 6. And then we see a number 5 Baylor squad, which I think is pretty interesting as well. See if one of those underdogs can maybe get this done. We actually will not be seeing the Heisman in the national championship this year, as Miami takes care of Penn State in the first round. Pittsburgh knocks out Oregon. Notre Dame takes out Baylor, and Tulane knocks off Iowa State. And this has been my favorite crop so far. Those were all one-score games, although they may not have been as close as it does look. In the second round, much of the same, except Georgia is able to get a 2-score victory over Tulane, only by 12 points, though. Oklahoma knocks off Notre Dame by 8. Clemson can't hold on, and Pittsburgh knocks them out by 3, and then Kansas State able to beat Miami. So Georgia with a chance to repeat as champions here. They are going to have to beat the number 3 Oklahoma team. And then Pittsburgh and Kansas State, we are going to have a new challenger arise from whoever wins that matchup. So we'll jump into those games here, and let's see who's going to win this national championship in year 3. Kick is up, and it is good. Now we'll see what can this Georgia offense muster in about a minute 25. I still don't understand why they're taking it out of the end zone on these kick returns, but there's nothing I can really do about that unless I let it simulate. And there's a pick. Oh, not a pick 6, but a pick. And that looks like it's going to end the game. I've seen a lot of those in the sim. And yeah, man, just a bad decision. I think that's Gunnar Stockton. Georgia, season over, heart-wrenching. So late here in the game, Pittsburgh with the ball, 4th and 2. They need to convert this. Down by 10, and they do not get it. And Kansas State is going to walk out of the Sugar Bowl national title bound. So it's going to be Kansas State. And we're going to have 2 new teams here matching up in this national championship. We're going to end a new champion. This has been a crazy back and forth game, really close in the first half. Then Kansas State exploded out in the third quarter. But now, a drop there. This could do it for Oklahoma if they cannot convert. Maybe I should have jumped in a little earlier, showing a little more gameplay, but looking, gets a man open on the curl route. Jackson Arnold still quarterbacking down at Oklahoma. And Kansas State, the first Sun Belt team we've seen here, actually, now that I come to mention it. He finds a man on the streak, and he's going to go all the way for the touchdown. Seems like we see either interception or just streak routes get wide open. Wow. Great play there for the Oklahoma offense. And this is why we spectate the games, man. Even though it looked like this was all over, he goes backwards again. Dylan Edwards, loss of maybe 2 that time. They're going to say a loss of 4, actually. 3rd and 15. And he's just going to hand the ball off again. He gets the edge, though. And it is not going to matter. He got the first down. Wow. Oklahoma had a chance. They probably, with the way their offense was clicking, that probably would have gotten them at least to overtime. But instead, they're going to lose the national championship to Kansas State. Did anyone think Kansas State was going to win a championship in this simulation? Because I'll tell you what, I wasn't seeing that coming either. And I guess Oklahoma would have been the first Pac-12 champion as well. So we see a new conference get a champion. We've had 3 years now with 3 different conferences getting championship wins. And we have another kind of crazy Heisman winner here in year 4. We got Lenoris Sellers, but he didn't win it with Arkansas. He's winning it with Clemson here. Yeah, just a lot of different transfer portal moving around we've seen so far at the conference standings. Really good year this year for Duke, but they do end up losing in the ACC championship. USC, another really strong season. We'll see if they get back to the Natty. Clemson 13-0. They are looking strong, man. They have probably been one of the 4 best teams just in terms of getting awards and staying relevant. Big Ten, Purdue is going to get in, and maybe Georgia, Michigan State. One of them may not make it in just because of how the seeding is going to work. But just, yeah, this is easily the strongest football conference. Florida State, even in this world, can't do anything about it. Conference USA, nothing too crazy going on there as usual. Here's the MAC. Here is the Mountain West. Texas Tech. Good season, but just not good enough. I think probably the competition isn't good enough for them to get ranked, unfortunately. Pac-12, we have a really good number 2 Oklahoma team again. We have Tennessee. They'll be making the playoff, probably. Nevada, LSU, neither of them. And then Alabama will be getting in as they won the conference as well. Kansas State will not repeat as they will miss the playoff. And maybe UAB gets in. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at this college football playoff bracket. Toledo is the one that sneaks in at number 15. So yeah, number 12 will not make the playoff. This is a good crop of teams. I think this is the first time Alabama has gotten a first round bye, and having Duke and UAB and Tulane in here, plus Toledo, that is kind of what we're here for, to get some difference and variance in these matchups. We have some interesting bracket movement so far. So Florida got Toledo up and out of there. Kind of makes sense. Florida being ranked number 4, though, and then getting blown out 24-0 in a shutout against Alabama. Not necessarily what I was expecting. Purdue taking out Tennessee. Also kind of surprising to me. Duke does get their playoff win, so shout out to them. And UAB and Tulane, one of them was going to have to win. So UAB moved on, but did get taken out by Oklahoma in the next round pretty handily. USC handled business with Duke. None of the second round games were really close. So we're going to have an Alabama-Clemson classic matchup in the semifinal, and then we're going to see USC and Oklahoma, 2 teams that have both been in the national championship. And we'll see who can come out on top. So Clemson just scored a long touchdown. Alabama just received the kickoff. Clemson need to stop here to have a chance to get to the national championship. If Alabama picks up this first down, it'll probably be the end of the game. Here it is, 3rd and 6. They're going 5 wide. Going to try to sling this thing. Comes in motion. And he throws, and he has a man wide down the sideline. That's going to be a touchdown. We've seen that a lot of times here, man. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And Alabama likely just clinched their spot. All right, on the other side, we got a tight game as well. 13-17. USC with the football, minute 47. They have a long way to go. Need a touchdown. But that's going to help right there. Aiden Childs picks up 12 through the air. And they're up to the 33. Gonna go hurry up. Finds another man underneath. That injury does come in though, so forces them to burn a timeout, and that goes incomplete. Finds a man underneath again on the curl route. First down for USC. They're going to keep it going. Hurry up. I like this tempo they've had. Checking the safeties. Throws, and it's picked off. That's a pick six. It seems like every game we jump into, there's either a pick six or someone just breaks free on a 9 every time. And Oklahoma looks like they just clinched a spot versus Alabama in the national championship game. And oh my, it's going to be 4th and inches by the slimmest of margins. I would go for that 100%. And the punter gets hit. I don't know what to say about this sim, brother. It's been pretty iffy. It's had a lot of weird stuff going on. Here, Alabama, Oklahoma, either one. Probably not be too crazy. Touchdown, Alabama. And we have a tied game here in the national championship with 3.5 on the clock. They need this first down. Oh my god, he has all day in the pocket. And he finds a guy wide open in the field. Get timeout comes in. They can pick up a first down without scoring. Let's see if they keep it on the ground, probably. Yep, and they are in the end zone. Oklahoma takes the lead, 28-21. Alabama, minute 22 on the clock at their own 15 because the CP loves to just return kickoffs. Finds a guy downfield, though. He's got 30 yards on that play. We've seen offenses be able to put drives together here. And he fires, and it's picked off. And that is going to do it, guys. We've seen so many games end on interceptions like that. And Oklahoma is going to be your year 4 college football national champions. Here near 5, the quarterback for Georgia winning the Heisman. I don't know what is going on with my background here, man, but it is just tweaking. Here's a quick look at the playoff bracket for this year. Nothing too crazy. Kentucky and SMU get in, and yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, and we can see in the first round, Alabama did get upset by Kentucky, but LSU got Kentucky up out of there. In the next round, Tennessee was able to handle SMU, but Georgia, man, a 41-0 stomping of Tennessee. Georgia would have the chance to go back to the national championship, and they're playing LSU. And then Clemson and Kansas State are going to be on the other side as Clemson beats Michigan. Kansas State takes down Oregon. So this one didn't end up being too crazily close. And Clemson or LSU would have been new teams in the championship. We have had 4 different conferences make it, but Kansas State making it back this year. Here's the standings for year 5 real quick. Forgot to show them earlier. Good year from USC again, but they were not able to make it in the ACC. Haven't seen too much out of like Florida, Notre Dame. They have been to the playoffs, but not really able to do much. What other teams do you think have been disappointing so far? Tennessee probably should have been doing a little bit better. especially in this bracket here. Maybe Utah as well. And yeah. And I wish I had something to show here, but Georgia just utterly decimates LSU, continuing their streak here. Wow. It's been an extremely close one here. Georgia has been able to take the lead for most of the game. Kansas State has been right behind, and they've really put up a really good fight against Georgia, especially considering what we saw from the other teams that played Georgia in this playoff. But I don't know if they're going to have enough to get out of this college football championship, and they will not. And Georgia is going to be our first school to win its second national title, as long as nothing crazy happens on this handoff or the next two, I guess. Let's see if they just go to take a knee here. And that they will not. They're going to hand the ball off. Game glitching. Don't worry about that. It's 3rd and 10. I'm going to just keep it on the ground again. And interesting. So it's 4th and 9. They are going to have to punt. But Kansas State has no timeouts remaining. They're going to fair catch the punt, and it goes right over the returner's head and out the back of the end zone. So they have 12 seconds to go 80 yards. Probably just going to see a Hail Mary try here. Can he get the ball off? He will get the throw, and it just goes right out of bounds. So 7 seconds remain in this 2029, remember, year 5, college football championship. National championship, I should say. And he's going to scramble for some reason and get sacked, and that is going to do it. Georgia has done it again. The end of year 6, I accidentally skipped through the little pop-up, but we did have Michigan's quarterback Cornell Brahms win the Heisman, and then 1, 2, and 3, all the ranked squads, quarterbacks in there with Eastern Michigan's for some reason as well. Here are the standings at the end of the year and the conference winners. So Michigan 13-0, undefeated. Can they dethrone Georgia? And really, we're just looking to see, is anyone going to be able to get 2 championships? Because Georgia now being the only team, Tulane ranked number 5, but did lose to Auburn. Wisconsin, wow, they're going to be in. Florida State probably going to make it as well. I guess I should go a little slower so y'all can see that if you want to. Pac-12, we got Iowa State beating Utah, so they might get in. Tennessee, they will be in as well. Oklahoma does not make it, going 8-4. LSU wins the SEC. We'll see if they make it in or not, as they are only ranked 18. And that's kind of the issue with this academic restructuring, is some of these conferences, football-wise, just aren't great overall. And prestige-wise, and the Sun Belt, we have Cincinnati getting into the playoff, Alabama and Kansas State winning. Let's see what the bracket is looking like here. So Iowa State and Florida State both get in, and they're ranked 13 and 14. We have Michigan, Auburn, Kansas State getting their byes along with Iowa State. And Stanford's in, Cincinnati's in. So Tulane really the only kind of wild card there. We do get a Wisconsin appearance in Cincinnati, which I did note there. So yeah, Georgia and Oregon not making it. Georgia will not get the chance to go for a 3rd championship this year. And yeah, man, we'll see. Can Michigan continue this undefeated run? Will Kansas State upset them? We'll see. All right, we got some chaos going on. Florida State, number 14, has gone on a little bit of a run. Takes down Stanford, takes down Iowa State. Tennessee goes down to Utah, but Michigan is able to just squeak by Utah. So we're having Michigan versus Florida State And then Auburn, Kansas State on the other side. And unless Kansas State wins it all, we're going to have a new national champion. And we're going to have definitely a new team on the Michigan Florida State side. Auburn has not made one either. Cincinnati gets up out of there, but they do knock Alabama off before they lose. And then Tulane was just barely beaten out by 2 points by Kansas State. Wow. But they were able to win against Wisconsin in the first round. So unfortunately, my recording was not working properly, but Florida State was down and managed to get a touchdown with like a minute left, and then Michigan just drove all the way down the field for a field goal, and I'm really freaking mad that that happened, and I wasn't able to get that recorded for y'all. But basically, Michigan dominated most of the game. It was a defensive struggle. Florida State never really had a chance to go up. So at the end, it was 13-14, and Florida State just threw one down the middle of the field for like an 85-yard touchdown. And then with 40 seconds left, Michigan gets the ball, drives back down, and is able to get a field goal. Now with 6 seconds, Florida State has the football, and they're going to have one try to heave it down the field. And it is incomplete, and Michigan is going to the national championship on the back of their Heisman winning quarterback. This has been a back and forth game. Kansas State just forced a safety on Auburn to make it 20-21. Auburn was actually up 14-3 in this one. And then some shenanigans, I guess, have been going on. Kansas State have been able to come back into this football game. And they can take a lead with the field goal here. 2nd and 1, though, they are going to be sacked, making it a 3rd and 6 for them. See what they got. And Kansas State would be the only other team this season that would be able to match Georgia's 2 championships if they could get a win here, but they throw an interception. We've seen that time and time again in these games. Now Auburn with the football and a chance to go to the title game. They can take it to the 2-minute warning here with a handoff, but they're going to throw it. And he has a guy open underneath. That'll bring us to the 2-minute warning. 8-yard pickup. So Auburn doesn't need to score, but they do need to pick up at least another first down. And maybe probably another one after. They're going play action. He's throwing deep downfield, and he's wide open. They were committing for the run, it looked like. And it did not pay off. Auburn. We've seen just strikes down the field and then interceptions thrown underneath over and over. And it seems like that's what the best teams can do. They'll find explosive plays down the middle of the field and down the sidelines. Kansas State doing what the teams do best in the sim and taking that return out to the 13-yard line. Throw here underneath, and it is incomplete. Getting a little bit of game lag on the monitor, but he is able to find the receiver outside. They call their first timeout. So it's not over yet. They still have 2 timeouts and a lot of time left, but a sack like that is not going to help. And then they're going to be forced to burn another timeout. I don't know if I would have taken it quite that early if I was them. Going 5 wide here. Throwing deep, and he has a man. And it's a foot race. He is going to be tackled, though, short of the end zone at the 19. But Kansas State, a huge play there. That's going to really flip some momentum possibly if they can put together some semblance. Oh, 7 more there. A minute 15 on the clock. And reminder, they are going to need that 2-point conversion. Even if they do get the score here, they find a man underneath again. That's a 5-yard, 6-yard pickup for the first down. 1st and goal. Minute on the clock. Plenty of time. And he just rolls out and throws it straight to the defense. Wow. I have no words. We have seen some just incredibly inconsistent quarterback play throughout the simulation, and that was almost a safety on the 1 yard line. Auburn with the football. Kansas State needs a safety to stay in the game. They've already gotten one today, and they're not going to get two, as that is going to do it. And Auburn is going to the national championship to play the undefeated Michigan team. We have yet to have an undefeated school win out through the year. We saw USC. I think they were undefeated going into the championship, but they were not able to get it. We'll see if Auburn can stop Michigan from doing that here as well. Unfortunately, it looks like there's not really anything to even jump into here, as Michigan has just handled Auburn. It was 3-3 at the half, and then Michigan just put the clamps on for the rest of the game. 3-0 even for Auburn. Not that that's much of a lead. But that's going to do it. Fortunately, we don't get any real opportunity to jump in there. But the ACC is able to get a championship this year, and that's their first title. Again, there's only one season remaining now, so we'll see if anyone is going to be able to match the Big Ten, who has 2 titles currently with Georgia. Here in the final season, we have TCU's quarterback winning the Heisman. Not quite what I was expecting. Here is our college football. Whoa, Louisiana Tech, where did you come from? Tulane with the number 1 seed. Ole Miss, Florida State, Michigan, Penn State, Texas, TCU, BYU, Wisconsin, USC, VTech. So no Georgia, no Kansas State. Tulane has been in the playoffs quite a few times, but just has not really been able to get much done. I'm rooting for them, though. And then Louisiana Tech getting in is not something that really was supposed to happen. So going over to the conference stand, you see Michigan, another strong year, wins the conference. USC not quite able to knock them off there. TCU with a really strong year, but they can't beat Tulane. Oregon doesn't get in. Clemson doesn't get in. Georgia, if they would have beat Florida State, they would have made it, but they just end on 2 losses, so they will not be there. Penn State, VTech with really strong years. Texas and Wisconsin, Big Ten teams loading up in this playoff, and they're trying to make that final push. Louisiana Tech, that is insane. They were not supposed to be in here at all, but at the 12th seed, they will be making it. North Texas, BYU, Oklahoma. So BYU doesn't get in. And because of that weirdness where LA Tech just had a really good year, Oklahoma is going to miss the playoff. And they probably shouldn't. And so is LSU. Oh my gosh. So that's kind of the, I don't know if you want to say the fall, the disparity, but that's one of the bad parts about this, I guess, is that you are going to have times where you get a team that comes out of nowhere, just like this, and they're going to have a chance at this championship just like anyone else. All right, man. Louisiana Tech showed that they really were not supposed to be there. VTech gets them up out of there, and VTech able to beat Ole Miss in the next round as well. Moving on to the semifinal, they're going to take on a Tulane team that beat USC this season. Let's go. I'm rooting for Tulane just because I want to see one of those smaller schools end up getting it done. USC did beat Wisconsin. BYU beat TCU. They did move on to get beat by Florida State, however. And then Texas beat Penn State, but they were taken down by the reigning champion Michigan. So we're going to have Michigan versus Florida State and Tulane VTech. So no matter what, we're having a new challenger on that side of the Tulane VTech game, and Florida State would be able to make their first championship if they were able to beat Michigan. All right, man, we've had a lot of low-scoring games over the course of this that we've jumped into here, but Florida State They were able to. Oh my god! Every time, bro. I can't even finish getting my sentences out. It's like every time we jump in, the quarterbacks just forget how to play. And I almost feel bad. It's like teams get cursed by us watching them. But hey, it can't all be on us because sometimes they do just chuck it down the field. But it looks like Michigan is going back now. And I really thought Florida State was going to have enough to knock them off there. It looked like for most of the game, they had the upper edge, but they just were not able to keep the lead in the fourth quarter. And then with a chance to go down the field on the very first play, they come out and throw an interception. So Michigan is going to have a chance to repeat. They would be our only repeat champions if they can do it. And they would be the second team to win 2 titles. We'll see what happens here. So here we are, y'all. Another end of the game drive, a minute 20 left for Tulane. They're down by 3. Throws it over the middle, and he's open. Wow, nice pickup. They're across midfield up to the 46. This has been a pretty close game the entire time, just back and forth, back and forth. And they're trying to get the play in from the sideline. Tulane just needs a field goal to tie. Throws underneath. They're going to pick up 6. So, yeah, whichever one of these teams gets into the title will be facing the reigning champions. But they will have a chance to win the first title for their school in the video. That one gets them the first down. They're going to stop the clock quick, but it looks like they're going to come out and spike it anyway. So they're in field goal range now. Will they be aggressive and try to go for the touchdown? They're going to take a screen pass, and he's going to pick up just 3 yards. It's third down. They're staying in the hurry up. 33 seconds left on the play clock and on the game clock. Finds another man over the middle for the first down, but no timeouts remaining. Let's see if they come out and spike it again. And it looks like they are. So 23 seconds. And looks like they're going to run a play. They come out with 3 backs in the backfield. And it's a toss. It's going to pick up just 1 yard. And I guess they're going to spike it again and kick the field goal. And it looks like we are going to overtime. Barring some craziness on this kick return coming up. We're tied at 24. And what a better time than in the last season to have an overtime game to get to the national title. And with 8 seconds on the play clock, is Virginia Tech going to try to take a shot, or are they just going to take it out of regulation? They're going to hand the football off. And that's going to do it. We're going to overtime. End of regulation here in the Cotton Bowl. Wow. This is where legends are made, folks. Playoff football. Overtime football. Virginia Tech wins the toss. And they're going to play defense. And we are going to check out this overtime drive from Tulane. And yeah, man. May as well. It's the last 2 games we're going to get to watch here. I have been very interested. Tulane has been pretty successful. Oh my gosh, takes the sack there. They've been pretty successful over the course of this video. They haven't been able to make it to the title so far. This being their best chance yet. 3rd and long now. Oops. I didn't mean to do that. My bad, y'all. 3rd and long. And he's going downfield. He's got a man. And it's complete down to the 1 yard line. Tulane knocking on the door. Virginia Tech going to need a big stop here, and they are not going to get it. Tulane into the end zone. Touchdown. Green wave. PAT kick incoming. And it is good. So the pressure's on now. VTech needs a touchdown. And if Tulane can get a stop, they're in the title against Michigan. Really great years from both of these squads, though. No matter what the outcome of this game ends up being. Quarterback going to scramble for VTech, and he's got the first down. He just looks pretty quick there. And he picks up 13, so it's going to be 1st and 10 on the 12. They're going back to the air. Finds a man underneath. That was a dicey throw, but it is going to pick up 3 yards. And they're going wide here with 4 receivers on one side. Going for the end zone, and he has a man for the touchdown. Game's tripping a little bit on the monitor. Fine on the TV. Probably going to have to fix that next time we do something like this. Go ahead and leave some more suggestions if you are enjoying this, man. And this is probably the best game we've had up to this point. Virginia Tech with the football again. Let's see what they can do on their second drive here in our second overtime. Going to just fire behind the line of scrimmage, and the running back is going to go out of bounds without being able to turn upfield. So it's a loss of 3. Keeping it in the air. Finds the little hitch curl route for a pickup of 5. They're going to go 4 wide on the left, 1 receiver on the right, 3rd and 8. Firing underneath, and they have the first down on a drag route. Tulane's defense, man. If there's any time to make a play, it is now. Virginia Tech has a man open on the left side, and he's got another first down. 1st and goal now from the 3, pickup of about 11. Oh my goodness. How the momentum can sway here. Tackled behind the line for a loss of 1. These overtime drives so important. Any mistake dropped there on the screen pass, that could have went a lot of different ways. 3rd and goal. If they don't get this, we have to imagine they'll probably settle for the field goal. And he's throwing for the end zone. It's batted down by Tulane. Not able to get the interception, but they are able to keep him out of the end zone. Now a timeout by Tulane trying to mess with the kicker. But they are pretty close, so it's going to be an easy kick. Virginia Tech knocks that one in. We will now go to the Tulane offense. They need a field goal to continue the game. A touchdown would win it here. And it's like a screen pass or something underneath, all jumbled up. Goes incomplete. 2nd and 10. Play action to the running back, and he's going to be sacked. They might. Now, they're probably still in field goal range, but they lose 6 yards, so it's going to be 3rd and 16 now from the 31-yard line. Tulane hands the football off, and they're going to lose more yardage. They're back at the 33. It's going to be a 50-yard field goal attempt to tie this game up. By no means a gimme, but he should have the leg, and he does. And now we're going to our 3rd overtime. Wow. Haven't seen anything like this during this video. So Tulane is back on offense. And we are now at the point of overtime where we're going to 2-point conversion shootout. Finds a man underneath, but he drops the football. And VTech can win it all right here with a 2-point conversion. We just have to get this one play. and they are in the national championship and would have taken down the number one team, Tulane, throwing for the end zone, but it's intercepted. And if he runs this back, he's gonna make it. Tulane wins. Tulane just won the game on an intercepted 2-point conversion attempt to go to the national championship. Wow. Easily the best finish to a game we've had in this entire video. And at what a time. But now, to get to the national championship against the reigning champs, Michigan, Tulane is going to have a chance to dethrone them. And that is just an amazing finish in triple overtime. So in the national title game, Tulane has just thrown an interception and they're on the side of the field. They were up 14-7 on Michigan, but this could be a game changer. We're going to hop in right here and see if Michigan can take advantage of that turnover and tie this football game up. Tulane, man, really one of the teams that exemplifies what this whole restructure was about. As Michigan does pick up the first down on the curl, we're going to take it to 2-minute warning. Being one of those small schools that's built on academic prestige, but they have always had a decent enough football environment to keep up with some of the bigger schools. And Michigan, 9 yards on the ground there. We'll see how they handle this clock. Tulane is really one of the best examples, I think, of schools that would benefit from a realignment like this. And going up the middle again is Michigan, but they don't have the touchdown yet. So 1:40 on the clock. First and goal at the 1. And you'd have to wonder, is it better for them to score right now? Probably not. They're going to leave Tulane with some time. They do get the touchdown. But as we know, Tulane is probably going to get gypped here on their kick return because EA just loves to do that for some reason. And I could skip out, but it's only fair to the other teams that we spectate this kickoff to. They're able to get this one to the 20, so not that bad. 1:29, costly turnover on the last drive. Probably would have been better just keeping it on the ground and punting it. You're going through the air. That is a dicey throw. It is going to be dropped as he's hit trying to catch that football. 2nd and 10 for Tulane. We have a tied football game. And for my heart rate, I don't know if I could handle another overtime one, but we will see. 3rd and 1 here. If they don't pick this up, unfortunately, that probably means they're going to punt it. And I have a feeling they're going through the air, even though running the ball here might be the smart idea. He does have a man open anyway underneath, able to break a tackle and pick up a decent amount of yardage. So now with the football at their own 41, they still have 2 timeouts and a minute on the clock. Play action. Going deep, and it's going to be batted away by the defender. I don't think that's necessarily what they need to do there, man. I mean, they're just straight going through the air. Looking, and he had a man, it looked like open, but just not able to put enough on the ball. Knocked away by the corner on the corner route. 3rd and 10. Big down. Has a man wide open down the sideline. Yet again, the streaks strike. And Tulane, the fighting, I don't know, they're not the fighting, they're just the green wave. But they could be the fighting green wave today, as they have just taken a lead in the national championship game with under a minute remaining. Going to kick off to Michigan. And he is taken down at his own 13. These kick returners, man, not very smart in the sim, unfortunately. Michigan, though, I can't do this anymore. We're on Heisman. I don't know, what else to change that's going to change the outcome of these, but that is just incredible. First play touchdown from Michigan. And just when you think this game might be over, they go 87 yards. Wow. One play. Kicking off to Tulane again. And we've seen Tulane be able to come down and do it just a few seconds ago. But now with the ball in their own 17, they only have 37 seconds and 2 timeouts this time. And they're going to hand the football off. And if I'm not mistaken, this might mean they're playing for overtime, which I would not. I don't know if I'd be happy or not with. They do get the first down there, though, and they call a timeout. So at their own 43, 1st and 10, 1 timeout left. They chuck it underneath, and oh my goodness, the tight end was able to pick up a nice amount of yards after the play, after the catch. 44-yard line now. And Tulane's quarterback, come on, make a good decision. He throws it away. 7 seconds remain. If they can get a quick strike and get out of bounds, that would be ideal. But otherwise, it looks like we're going to overtime. And he's hurling it for the end zone. And it's going to be intercepted in the end zone. And oh my goodness, we have another overtime game in the playoffs. This time, it's the national championship game. Tulane versus Michigan. Wow. I'm just really speechless at this point. We saw 2 extremely long touchdowns in succession there. Tulane, I mean, they ripped this game right back from Michigan, and then Michigan just rips the heart out of Tulane. Tulane's going to be on defense first here in overtime. And what a way to end this. I mean, I thought, I really thought we were about to be out of here. And instead, we end up with 2 overtime games to end off this video in this simulation. Let me know, would y'all want to see like a longer version of this, maybe even more condensed than it is? I don't know if 7 years is long enough for changes to necessarily take an effect. I'll keep this save here, so if we want to keep it going, we can hop back into it perhaps. But I thought 7 was a good amount of years, and it's really been spread out pretty evenly for championship winners through the conferences. It's been quite interesting. So Michigan, back to the actual game here, has a 1st and goal on the 5, and that's just an easy touchdown throw for them. And unless Tulane can mount a touchdown drive here, Michigan looks like they might be able to be the only team to repeat, and they were the only team so far to have a perfect season, meaning the ACC would be the only conference to have one. And that's not going to change no matter the outcome of this game. But whoever does win this game, oh my God, he's wide open on the sideline. We're going to double overtime. Forget all I said about Michigan winning right off rip. Tulane will not go away, man. And this is just really inspirational play from Tulane. I mean, their defense, if they could step up again, that would be huge. Tulane with the football. Double overtime. This is incredible. I mean, we're getting our money's worth. Incomplete. Looking for a man on the sideline. And, has a man maybe open downfield, but is not able to connect. So it's going to be 3rd down. And they're going to do a play action, but the pressure is going to be too much. So force the throwaway. Michigan's going to try to ice the kicker, and Tulane's going to come in, kick this field goal. It is good, and it is 31-28. Michigan with a chance to win the football game with a touchdown. Field goal to keep it going. Yeah, what an incredible end to this simulation, man. Michigan going to walk it off. Wow. They don't need much. They prove that they are the better team here and just walk that touchdown right in. Michigan repeats. They are your national champions. We're going to go ahead and tally up the end of all the different Heisman winners, the national champions, the runner ups, and even the perfect season. And we'll be back. So here we have a little breakdown of all the conference champions over the 7 seasons and the conferences that they belong to. Little thing to note here, if they have a green star, that means that they won the national championship that season. So we did not have any national champions that were not conference champions, but we did have a couple runner-ups, which are the yellow stars. You can see there's no yellow star for the first season, and that's because Ohio State did not win the championship for their conference, even though they did make it to the national championship. And then the same thing there in this season over here, where Kansas State did not win the Sun Belt, but they did end up losing, I believe, in that season as well. And then the ones with the red star are teams that missed the playoff entirely, even though they did end up winning their conference, which is kind of interesting. Most of them were from this SEC division, which just really struggled due to being probably the worst out of these in terms of academic prestige. And that really showed in terms of overall prestige as well. Here we can see the Heisman totals by conference on the left there. We can see the national championship totals and then the runner-up totals as well on the right. And the teams that did end up having Heisman winners, we had Washington State, we had USC, we had Clemson twice, we had Georgia, we had Michigan, and we had TCU. And then I did take into account runner ups, and I had a little formula where I just kind of added these all together to see which conference did the best. And because we did count runner ups as much as the Natty, which you could argue we probably shouldn't do, but the Big 12 did come out on top. We can see here with the totals, the ACC came in second place with 5. Then it was the Big 10 at 4, Sunbelt with 3, Pac-12 with 2, and the little SEC over there with 1. And this is Heisman winners plus national championship wins plus national championship losses. So the Big 12 is able to get it done, but the ACC and the Big Ten right there as well. Big Ten, kind of a little disappointing, I think, from the football standpoint that they weren't able to get it done as much. And a really good showing from the Sun Belt, showing that there are still a decent amount of teams that could stay up there. I think Tulane was probably the most exciting team we saw. And yeah, man, leave your thoughts in the comments below. I hope y'all really enjoyed this. This did take a little bit of time to put together, so we'll see if I do another one of these. And leave some more suggestions. I may do some more other ideas like this in the future, however, just maybe not super soon. And I will see y'all next time. It's been your boy, Texas Yankee, man. I really appreciate any support on this. And of course, the comments are helping right now, so go ahead and do that. I'll see y'all next time.